Passengers is the latest horror movie to release this weekend. This time around, we are following a young couple who is now living the van life out on the road until they stumble upon an entity that latches onto them, cutting their road trip a little shorter than they expected. That's all. Pretty much any spoilers, you guys. This will be a spoiler-free review. Passenger. Now, we're currently kind of in this renaissance where it feels like every 2 weeks, or even just weekly now, we are having the next big horror movie getting released. And I don't mean in terms of getting that label of, the best horror movie of the year, but just something kind of cool that you can go out and watch, right? Well, I was thinking Passenger might fit into that little category. Couple reasons why is this had like a really interesting marketing campaign, or just a unique way to go about it, where the first trailer for this came out like January, February, and then it stayed only playing in theaters for like 2 months. If you wanted to watch the trailer for Passenger, it was only playing in theaters. And I don't know, I feel like that's just kind of a cool thing. And it was a cool little trailer of these guys who go on the road and then weird things start happening. It built an intriguing mystery, and I was like, all right, I kind of like this like ominous feeling, and they're hiding a lot of the film. Probably could be a good movie. I was even surprised the other day when I was like looking up, getting ready for what movies were coming out this weekend. When I was looking at Passenger, I noticed it was being directed by Andre Overdale, which I think he's done a couple of good horror movies. The Autopsy of Jane Doe, underrated, highly recommend it. Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, while definitely not like the scariest movie you'll see, I think it's a good little gateway horror and a fun version of those classic kid books. So I went into this just kind of like, okay, let's see what Passenger is all about. Let's see if it's the next cool horror movie getting released in this year. And no, it is not that at all. Unfortunately to me, this is a typical studio generic horror movie stinker. It's also one of those movies that enough people are gonna watch it and go, I don't get it. I thought it was kind of cool and interesting, because it hits the check mark in typical things that, like, I guess a regular person who doesn't watch very many horror movies would hope to see in a film marketed as a horror film. Like, okay, I'll try to get into some positives before I get to things I'm mixed and negative about. So I do think Andre Overdale is a good director, and he's got a good eye for how to go about horror. Like, one thing you'll notice in this movie is there's a lot of unique camera choices, whether they're long pans, or there's this one really cool thing they do in the parking lot with like a character where she's just trying to get to her van, and the camera does like this 360 pan, and something happens at every turn. Like, I thought that was cool, and you can see this is a director who, if was given stronger material, could probably pull off something good. And that's just really the strongest thing I have to say about Passenger, because everything about it is the thing I dread to go see when I buy a ticket to a horror movie. This is one of the most formulaic versions. It's like you can pinpoint the way this movie goes down into a science, and you can see it done in hundreds of other movies. What we have here is characters that end up on a road, then entity latches onto them, freaky stuff starts happening one by one. One character sees it all happening while the other one's like, are you sure? I think it's just in your head. Maybe you need a drink of water. Things escalate. Then they go onto the internet where there's always answers to exactly what's happening to them, or a creepy old lady that has the answers. This movie does both, gives them the backstory information they need, and then they work their way to trying to defeat the entity. And just like, I've seen it done numerous times. There's nothing unique or interesting about this version's approach, and if anything, it just comes off annoying because this movie's riddled with jump scares, and not even any good ones. That art is dying a lot, and I really hate to be that one right now comparing it to like the most recent big horror movie, Obsession, but it's like going from that just came out last week to now going to Passenger. You have to see then why people praise something like Obsession, because it's showing you or doing things that haven't been done to death on screen. I'm so sick of just like the music getting so quiet, characters looking slowly, and then loud music in this big theater with giant speakers just bursting, giving you the cheapest scare, not necessarily because what you saw was scary, it's just because someone goes from quiet to then maxing out the volume of a speaker you're just gonna jump a little. I was not a fan also of the entity design or the lore behind the entity. I never thought we'd get to a place where hobo lore is now somehow something you need to know if you want to survive this entity. There's such thing as hobo lore. The couple that we're following as well, they try doing something where the road and the struggle they're going through mirrors their own struggle, where it's a couple where the guy is really into the van life. And hey, I get you, man. I've seen a couple videos of some tricked out vans. I'd like to ride across country and just let that be my life. But his partner is like, I don't think the van life is for me. I'd like to just stay in one place. And so the road in this entity ends up becoming a metaphor on whether their relationship will last and whether they can make it together. And it's like, you can see what they're trying to do, but I struggled to care about their relationship or the issue they're having with the entity. Looking back on the way the movie was marketed and all now, I totally see why they only had a trailer playing of the opening of the movie, which is by far kind of like the peaking point of the film. Their opening sequence had that only playing in theaters, and then the rest of the marketing was pretty silent and ambiguous because movie really doesn't have much interesting things to show you. I'd like to say this would be a fun watch if it pops up on streaming and you just want to enjoy something in the background while you're on your phone, the way some people enjoy stuff, but I don't even know if this would be good for that. This movie to me is an example of the things we should get away from with horror, where we've evolved past this point. A film like this with this type of formula, scares, characters, and motivations is just so decades ago. So honestly, I just really wasn't a fan of this one, and I don't think too many people will be, unless, again, this is like one of their first horror movies. Then yeah, I'm sure it'll kind of blow your mind. So when it comes to Passenger, I'm gonna give action a 1 star. That's the thing that sucks with these supernatural or ghost entity movies, because a lot of their jump scares are built on slow tension rising moments. If you're not into the story, the scare, those slow tension rising moments feels like things that just lengthen the runtime. Comedy in the movie, 1 star. Not really great humor. The husband tries to be funny and charming. It's passable, nothing cringy, but nothing that entertaining either. Drama in the film, I'm also give it 1 star. Not a fan at all of this hobo ghost entity. I think there is something cool in a story you could tell about like a haunted road, or like who hasn't gone down creepy back roads and woods and thinking, oh, something bad could happen to me. But this really didn't fulfill that potential. Suspense in the movie, I'll give it 2 stars. And that's just being generous due to the camera work from the director, which, like I said, I think he is capable, but man, he was just not given the proper material to shine. And horror in the movie, I'll give 2 stars, just mainly because they cheap out with the jump scares, and because the way they come so sudden and loud, there was 1 or 2 that got me, but it wasn't truly earned, and I never really felt frightful in the situation for the characters. When looking at the 3 C's, this will have to be a movie best enjoyed by casuals, and by that I mean a casual horror movie fan. If someone you're trying to get into horror movies, this could be one, just because they probably have never seen all the cliches this movie's about to put you through, so it'll be new to them. But for a long-time veteran into the genre, man, this is just not really worthy of a watch. And on that note, for Passenger, like I was thinking of maybe being nice and saying stream it, rent it at home, but honestly, it just, there's nothing of value or even memorable about this. I honestly say avoid it.
No, please. Please don't say that.
Again, this is my opinion on the movie, guys. Did you guys end up liking Passenger? What are like the strengths of the movie, or things like this your comfort watch where it's like, yeah, I'd seen it before, but it was still fun? I have seen some people like this movie. Good for them. Anyways, that's just my opinion. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow me on Twitter, 3C Films, or on TikTok at 3C Films. But as always, I'm Chris. Take care.